My ex-wife and her boyfriend laughed at me as our divorce was finalized. Then the judge revealed a final surprise that left them in tears. I never thought my marriage would end like this. Sitting in a courtroom, listening to a judge read out the final papers while my ex-wife, Lisa, and her new boyfriend, Jake, smirked at me from across the room. Lisa and I had been married for 10 years. We built a life together, bought a house, and even started a business. I thought we had something real. But 2 years ago, I found out she had been cheating on me with Jake, my former best friend. The betrayal cut deep. When I confronted her, she didn't even deny it. Instead, she looked me in the eye and said, "You were just a phase, Mark. Jake is my future." It took everything in me to walk away without losing my temper. I filed for divorce the next day. Fast forward to today, the finalization of our divorce. I was ready to put it behind me, but Lisa and Jake had other plans. They giggled and whispered to each other throughout the proceedings like a couple of teenagers. The way they looked at me, like I was some joke to them, made my stomach turn. Then, as the judge signed the last document, Lisa let out a loud chuckle. "Well, that's that," she said smugly. "Time to celebrate, babe." Jake grinned. "Yeah, let's go spend some of that sweet settlement money." I clenched my fists but said nothing. I had already lost so much. I wasn't about to give them the satisfaction of seeing me break. But then the judge cleared his throat. "Actually," he said, looking at Lisa, "there's one more matter to address before we conclude." Lisa frowned. "What are you talking about?" The judge adjusted his glasses and pulled out a separate file. "Mrs. Carter," he began, "do you recall the business you and Mr. Carter started together 5 years ago?" Lisa scoffed. "Of course. It was his idea, but I ran most of it." "Why?" "Because," the judge said, "during the division of assets, you requested a 50-50 split of all marital property, correct?" Lisa nodded impatiently. "Yes, that's how divorce works." The judge sighed and turned to me. "Mr. Carter, could you please explain to the court the details of your business's ownership?" I smiled for the first time that day. I had been waiting for this moment. "Your Honor," I said, "while Lisa and I built the business together, she never actually became a legal co-owner. The business was solely in my name." Lisa's eyes widened. "What? That's not true." "Oh, it is," the judge confirmed, flipping through some papers. "According to official business records, only Mr. Carter's name appears on the registration, tax filings, and ownership documents." Lisa's mouth fell open. But I worked on it just as much as he did." The judge nodded. "That may be true, but legally, you have no claim to it. And since Mr. Carter retained ownership before the marriage and never legally added you, the business is classified as non-marital property." Jake's cocky grin vanished. "Wait, so she doesn't get half?" "She doesn't get anything," I said, letting the words sink in. Lisa's face turned red. "No, that's not fair. I deserve something." "Actually," the judge continued, "since Mr. Carter had a prenuptial agreement in place, and all shared finances have already been split, the only thing you're entitled to is what was granted in the initial settlement, nothing more." Jake's face twisted. "What about the money we were supposed to get?" "There is no we, Jake," I said, enjoying the irony. "That was my business. And now, you two can have each other without my hard-earned money funding your future." Lisa turned to me, her expression desperate. "Mark, come on. We built that company together. I deserve something." I raised an eyebrow. "Like how I deserved your loyalty?" The judge tapped his gavel. "There's one last thing," he said. "Mrs. Carter, you're required to vacate the marital home within 30 days, as per the agreement." Lisa's eyes nearly popped out of her head. "Wait, what?" "That house was in my name, too," I explained. "And since I bought it before we were married, I get to keep it. You need to find somewhere else to live." Jake stood up abruptly. "This is BS. Where are we supposed to go?" I shrugged. "Not my problem." Lisa looked at Jake in horror. "We agreed we'd live there. You said we'd be set." Jake ran a hand through his hair, realizing he had just hitched himself to a sinking ship. I turned to Lisa one last time. "You thought you could betray me, take half of everything I worked for, and walk away laughing? Looks like the joke's on you." The judge stood. With that, This case is officially closed. Lisa broke down into tears. Jake just sat there, silent. I walked out of that courtroom with my head held high. Justice had been served. And the best part? I had just gotten the last laugh.